Okay, and we're out of Stonehill now. And on to the next level of the Artisan homeworld, Town Square. But first, let's speak to Thomas.
Hey Spyro, press the jump button twice to glide. And don't be afraid.
Afraid? Of what?
Falling from high mountain peaks, plummeting into prehistoric glaciers.
That.
Was that supposed to frighten me, Thomas? Didn't use the rule of 3 like they teach in speech class though, did you? Just gave me 2 reasons to be afraid. I needed 3 and then I would have quit. But no, you have to be different. Get this sack-wielding bastard. I despise these Gunnock thieves. They're just so tedious. I guess it's partly as well because we can't just flame them to make it easier. Alright, Town Square. Town Square's kind of supposed to be Spain, and you'll see why from the enemies that are inside. Just quickly gather all of the gems that are available in the bottom area of the level. Right, down here, and climb up some monotonous stairs, get the chest, and speak to first dragon of Town Square, Nils.
Welcome to Town Square, Spyro. Begin exploring by gliding to that area with the bulls. Use the L2 and R2 buttons to get a good look.
Sorry to disappoint you, Nils, but I won't be gliding where you're telling me to glide. I'm going to use a speed trick. Not too dissimilar to the one I used in Stonehill. But I'll tell you what, there's me panning the camera, so you can see that I've learned something new. So this is the backwards tail jump. I know we saw it in Stonehill, but I don't feel like I adequately explained what it is. Spyro gets a bit of extra height when he's facing away from the wall and then turns into it like that. For a split second, Spyro just kind of stays afloat, enabling us to get the height we need to get up some ledges. First enemy of Town Square, a bull. Now this bull, when charged, will go onto his horns and stay stuck in the ground indefinitely like that until he's flamed. If we'd flamed him originally, he would have died instantly, but because we've charged him, he will have the much more inhumane death of starvation, because no matter what he tries to do, he will not be able to get back up onto his feet. And without flaming him, we can't prevent his misery. Charging him would just have no effect at all. To the left here, a new chest. To the left here, a new chest, a fan vent, I like to call it, although I have no idea what its legit name is. We can only flame this as well. Charging it, despite the fact it's metal and looks chargeable, is not an option. So we're going to have to just leave it. Well, I'll say charging isn't an option. It is. Wink wink. Thor.
Thank you for releasing me.
A very wimpy incarnation of Thor. God of Thunder, so much so. Now, as you can see over there, that's another part of the level, but that is far too high for us to reach, so that is not an option. Usually to get up here, you'd have to glide from that location over there, but we used our nifty little trick, didn't we? So we're up here anyway. Alvar.
Spyro, did you see a man dressed in blue running around here? He's a thief, and he's stolen a dragon egg. You've got to track him down and get that egg. Run! Run! I'm giving you the
He's a thief, and he's stolen the dragon eggs. Well, we'll be united with that thief very soon. Running around somewhere in Town Square is another blue dragon thief. There are only 2 in the Artisans world, and we've already got the one, this is the other one. Directly ahead of me is the natural born enemy of the bulls, the bull fighters. I say the bull fighters, they do hardly any fighting and more so indefinitely run away from the bulls, occasionally mocking the bulls with their red towels, trying to entice the bulls into running through it like you see in Spanish bullfights, but they're not very good at their job and no bulls are lured in by this. So he's a pretty cool enemy. If we was to watch him from afar, he would just be running away from a ball indefinitely until we intervened. Occasionally as well, you do see the thing happen in reverse, whereby the bullfighter is actually chasing the ball for no apparent reason, but it does happen occasionally if you intervene and then leave, and for some reason the cycle gets reversed. One other thing I forgot to say earlier, as we get up onto this precarious looking step, I wonder what it could be for. The dragon that was on top of the hill, the one where Thor was, if we are hit by a ball on our last sparks into the dragon, we die at the same time as rescuing the dragon, and as a result we gain invincibility for a short time. It's one of the few places that that's doable on Spyro 1. And I've just lost my chance to get the blue thief on this particular moment, because what he'll do is he'll drop down to directly below where we are now, and as soon as we go down there to meet him, he will jump back up. It's really quite annoying in that he doesn't even have legs. Doesn't have feet, doesn't have legs, so how he achieves the required projection to jump up about a 20-foot hill is beyond me. We're a dragon, we can't fly, and we accept that. This blue thief has no limbs, just weird towel-like grip, this weird towel-like grip, and yet he can jump up a 20-foot hill. So back down here, this is where we were supposed to go if we'd listened to the dragon, and we're going to listen to him now because we feel bad, you know. And we're going to try and get the thief, but see, look at that, right there. There's probably no legitimate way we can get him from down here, he's just too quick. Perhaps if we was able to flame, we could do a special glide into him, but alas, that is off the table. I didn't introduce that box either. That is a spring gem chest, and it can contain a variety of different gems. All you can do is flame or charge them, and a gem will pop up. We then have to just jump above the chest to claim the gem. Down there is a pond that if we fell into, it is nigh impossible to get back out, so it's a good job we have our wits about us and can predict Insomniac's traps. Devlin!
Thanks, Spyro. I had the worst itch on the tip of my wing. Did you know that you get your longest glides by pressing X at the very top of your jump?
Cool thing to know about Spyro actually is you do actually, when you hold down X, you jump higher than if you tap it, and if you do glide at the very top of your jump, you do actually get more height. There's an example of the ball running away, bullfighter rather, running away from the ball. Every time he stops and the ball catches up, he'll do this funny little animation of scarediness and carry on running. We're going to intercept him. Oh, we somehow slid directly off him. Got the gem, but that was almost proxy-like. Back onto our precarious step, and we're going to try this again, Blue Thief, but this time we're going to come out on top. We're going to utilise a little bit of a hop. If Spyro charges and hops at the same time while going uphill, he actually goes a bit faster than usual. And that puts us on 2 dragon eggs out of 12 in total, out of the dozen, and that's all of the eggs in the Artisan homeworld. So we can be quite happy with that. The dragon egg thieves have not been a problem. So we're missing 10 gems in Town Square, and I'm trying to think where that is. Oh yeah, of course, they're in this fan belt over here. 10 gems will be sat inside that, we cannot touch them, so we have to regretfully just skip past it into the return home portal. And unfortunately we'll never ever be able to complete Town Square because of those 10 gems. Okay, fresh out of Dark Hollow, we can see clearly that I didn't miss any gems in that maze after all, and we can continue on our path through to this extra section by the Dragon Head. This is where the missing gems were that I spoke of earlier. The last couple of gems. This should put me on 100 out of 100 in the Artisan's Homeworld, thanks to there being no metal chests. And there's the last one. Sweet. This also marks the last dragon, Argus. Now I really should have actually let him play his dialogue, since he does have unique dialogue compared to what I did in the other challenge. But, oh well. Confronting Toasty. This is what qualifies as a boss in the Spyro 1 universe. I'm prepared to be very, very underwhelmed. But I will say one thing about this level. It has a badass soundtrack. And I'd also say that this level has perhaps one of the more difficult enemies of the entire game, not just in the Artisan's Homeworld. The Hell Dogs have 2 hits, 2 hit points essentially, and they can only be flamed, so we're in luck that we can actually defeat them. They're also often guarded by their shepherds. So they're almost like, you know, sheepdogs, but they're not sheepdogs. I like to call them hellhounds. Defended by their shepherds at range, so you've got to get the one without being hit by the other. It was kind of one of the only levels in Spyro 1 that felt like you needed any kind of strategy when fighting the enemies. Now when you get better at the game, it's not really an issue, but for when you're first going through the game, you do need to kind of think before you fight, purely because there's never any fodder in boss levels. I say there's never, there isn't a couple, but in general fodder doesn't make an appearance in boss levels, so you really need to do your best not to die or risk going back to the very start of the level. Unless you of course get a dragon, then that'll spawn you there instead. Off to the only secret in Toasty to the left hand side, we follow this around and we are greeted by another hellhound that we are at risk of just walking into and being flattened by. And this is probably the only enemy where the sideways rolls actually feel like they do much. There's a couple of enemies in later game where the side roll can help, specifically in these challenges anyway, but for this standard playthrough, if you're doing it standard elite, they're probably the only enemies it does anything for. Only dragon in Toasty is Nevin, and it's the checkpoint before what qualifies as the boss. Toasty looks very intimidating from afar, but he really isn't anything special once you find out what's under the cloak. That scary exterior, I guess it's kind of like a scarecrow reaper with a jack-o'-lantern head. Oh, and what's this? The real enemy behind Toasty, a sheep on stilts. So this boss is really more of a parody of what a boss should be than a boss itself. And even though the boss can actually hurt us when we get too close and don't attack it, if you're just walking at it and flaming it, there's really no problem there. And over to the right we can see what amounts to the start of the level, forming Toasty into one big circle. And we can just go ahead and return home there. So a difficult level in terms of enemies compared to the previous levels, but still hardly qualify it as difficult. I think that leaves just one level we've not done now, and it's the level that we usually go to first when doing a Spyro run through, and that's Stone Hill. I think it's the end level? Yeah, Stone Hill not there on the list. We only got 97 out of 100 gems on Toasty purely because of those 2 metal crates holding the last 3 gems. Let's go and do Stone Hill then. Stone Hill really shouldn't provide us with too many problems. I don't think there are any enemies we can't defeat, but unfortunately this level is home to a few metal chests that we will not be able to break. Therefore, don't expect us to be 100% in this particular level, because believe me, it cannot be done with just flame. And this is the first evidence of that, this room over to the left hand side of the level, where we agreed with red chests and then a stack of chargeable chests, which is a shame. First dragon of Stonehill is Lindar, putting us at a grand total of 13. Which means that we are on track to getting all of the dragons available to us in the Artisan's Homeworld worlds. Through here in the centre is the return home area. It's such a basic level that I think it's practically impossible to die really, unless you accidentally fall into the water that surrounds the level, which is very unlikely. Second dragon is to our left, but we'll come back for it in a moment. We're just going to glide down through the hidden beach cave to collect the key, and we cannot open any of the chests unfortunately, so the key and these couple of gems sitting on the beach are the best we can do. Up the whirlwind back onto the surface to rescue Astor. A nice blue gem there. Alright, we're going to go back the way we came now towards the well, and let's see what our spoils are from picking up this key. A dragon, a selection of red gems, and what do you know, a hidden lockbox. Oh, a hidden lockbox. And a whirlwind that took us right back to the surface. That whirlwind is actually on a timer, so as soon as we drop down here, there's about a 3-second timer before the whirlwind starts up. We must have left it too long. Rescue Gavin before we check our spoils of war. Let's see what gems have been tossed down this wishing well. Camera angle's a bit dodgy. Not a lot to be fair, but every gem counts in these challenges, so we're not going to complain. We're just going to go back on our way up this well. Trot back over to the final corridor area. Pick up these last gems before I forget. Good song by Slipknot, by the way. Now, this here, as you can see, that I've got a bit of extra height. You can actually use this to get up there. I just messed it up. I nearly got it. I'm quite used to doing the other trick by the return home portal to get up onto the barriers, but I've never actually mastered this one, and I can't get it consistently. But I thought I'd give it a go just quickly, see if I could prove how pro I am, but not today. I'm going to stay at novice level, or at best intermediate. Damn you, fountain on the wall. Fortunately, that water doesn't harm us, considering practically every other type of water harms Spyro. Hasn't learned to swim yet, unfortunately. And why would you want to swim in what equates to a murky, muddy, quicksandy kind of liquid as opposed to actual swimming? Another silver chest to the right we can't open, so we're going to have to bypass that. And that is actually something that becomes a tactic, really, for some of the later enemies. When they charge at you, if you do jump at the right moment and land on top of their heads, you don't take damage. It's only if they hit you head on. Or kind of if I was doing a very tiny hop, they'd still manage to hurt me. Last dragon, Gildas, on top of this tower. Not going to listen to what you say, I'm afraid. Just going to collect the gems that you were guarding on top of this tower that you probably burnt the inhabitants when you were roaming free. Reminds me of the Skyrim watchtower that you have to do in one of the quests. Just sat there out in the open, dragon on top of it. Collect these last gems. On the right hand side, very easy to fall off. Except on the other side there's like an invisible barrier whereby if you walk into it, this funny little sound plays, like a vroom, and you cannot bypass them. But on this particular side, if we was to walk off the edge, unless we was quick and glided onto the beach that we was on earlier, we would be stuck indefinitely. You can see the return home portals sparkles to the left there as we passed on top of the castle. Now we managed to defeat our blue robe nemesis on the town square level, but can we do it on Stonehill? After all, this enemy, the blue robed thief, has a lot of places he can run, but he does just run in a single circle, a circuit if you like, of the right hand side of the green wastes. But before we go and defeat him, I'm going to monotonously glide around to check I've got all the gems. There's some hidden in Fangorn Forest, or the closest thing to a forest in a Spyro game, these 5 or 6 trees. You saw there to the left there was some kind of stone pillars just standing on the edge. They're the barriers, and if we do walk into that, we cannot bypass them to stop us from exploring the unexplorable of this level. Right, where's the blue thief gone now? I take it when we got too close to him, he's already made a run for it. But at least he gave us the opportunity to find this chest. It's one of the red chests that I most likely forget when doing any kind of run on Spyro. That red chest just over there. You almost don't see it because it's between hills. Okay, so the thief is there. Now, if I go forward, he will most definitely carry on running, and that's not good. But him stopping there has given me an idea. I thought that he would stop a bit further on, back to where he started, but he seems to have decided to have stopped halfway. So we're going to take advantage of this. And we're going to try and get him mid-glide. So there you are, Blue Thief. Let's try and bypass you. There we go, brilliant. So if you go towards a Blue Thief like that, where you're head on, it can't decide whether it's best for itself to go left or right. So it kind of does a spinning motion, whereby it's trying to decide what it wants to do. Go left or go right. So you just need to take advantage of the situation and flame before it can move anywhere. If it had carried on going, we'd have been on a long chase to try and capture him. I have one last quick whip around to make sure I've not missed any gems, but I don't think I have. I'll do a recheck eventually, but I think that that's all the gems I can get in this level. The rest are metal.